Hello, welcome back to sort of a new video. It's a testing video, it's a testing run video as it were. If you saw my last Bloodborne video, I had done a non-commentary video really quick, sort of, just to sort of test the Elgato game capturing card a bit, just to see if this, if it recorded alright, if it did what it was doing. Now in this episode, what I'm primarily doing, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to see if the recording works fine. Which I think is probably the trickiest part with making these videos is the recording. But we shall see. We shall see if it does well or not. We'll just start back from the beginning. I think that's a good setup, as it were. Just to make sure everything works smoothly. Now, I wasn't able to say, obviously, in the last video, why I got this, game capturing card. Obviously, I love playing Bloodborne. Obviously, I love playing PS4. While many of the videos I've uploaded onto YouTube have been primarily PC games, the PS4 is sort of like my home. The PlayStation system is what I grew up on, and I still love it. And I have several games on PS4, PS3, PlayStation 1, and hopefully PS2. I'll get that sooner or later. Yeah, it's a lot of great memories. I love this platform, this system, but it is not, as it were, user-friendly. You cannot upload high quality footage from the PS4 up onto YouTube, and so you have to go this sort of complex backdoor way to get footage up onto YouTube that's high quality, high fidelity, etc. And that being, in one way or another, Elgato game capturing card, not sponsored by Elgato, game capturing card company. But if they wanted to sponsor me, that'd be nice. I've been testing it out. I've been playing around with it here and there, and it's seeing the difference between the live Bloodborne videos that I had made using the in-system PlayStation 4 streaming system thingy, compared to the Elgato game capturing system. It is night and day difference. I mean, it really is. And I hope that shows to a lot of you guys. Like, I obviously want to continue Alien Isolation. I got that game still up and running, and so I still want to do a playthrough, a walkthrough of that, and hopefully I will be able to bring, and that's actually what brought this up. I was doing a lot of the Alien Isolation, and when I was rewatching on YouTube and stuff, I noticed the poor quality, the poor fidelity, etc. And that's really what's brought me here. I'm like, Alien Isolation is a beautiful game. It looks fantastic. And unfortunately, that doesn't cross over in the videos that I'd look back at the videos up on YouTube and I'd be like, wait a second, this game, it looks way better than this. Why is the quality so bad? And that's how I figured it out. I did some research and I'm like, oh, you know, PlayStation 4 and other gaming consoles don't really have, I think, the capability. Maybe they don't want you to upload on YouTube. I'm not quite sure on the story. It seems weird to me. They wouldn't want you to upload in high quality. I mean, look at Resident Evil 2 Remake. That is a beautiful, high definition game. With this atmosphere that like fills you with dread and horror, and the same thing with Bloodborne. It's like, why wouldn't PlayStation Network want you to show that? I don't know. Hopefully some of you guys know the backstory to that. I simply don't. But I'm going to try to focus this video on audio. How does my commentary sound over a gameplay? Figure out how to set the vocal audio to gameplay. Can the audio be heard? Can what I'm saying be heard? Because I remember watching the first Bloodborne live stream. Nothing is here. You can't, you literally can't hear it. So I'm hoping that mistake doesn't happen here, but we will find out. And hopefully this video won't turn out, you know, terrible. Obviously the quality of the picture is going to be fine. It's the audio I'm worried about in this video. So once I upload it, listen to it a few times, I'll figure out, hey, where's the quality at? But yeah, so that's new. I'm just sitting on, wow, that was silly of me. I'm sitting on my couch here playing this, and hopefully it doesn't turn out bad. This is a new process for me for recording. I mean, all of this YouTube endeavor that I'm doing has been sort of a new process in a what would be called oversaturated market. But that's the thing, you know, these videos that I'm making, it's not for me, it's more psychiatric. I love talking, getting out my thoughts, emotions in a way. It's a public platform, a journal, essays, as it were, to give out my thoughts and opinions. And that's really what it is, you know. Just as I upload my music onto YouTube, you know, I don't expect anything to come from that. Same thing with these video games and so forth. I like playing games just as much as I like, you know, playing music. So, that's that. Other interesting note, I think when I started this sort of video game journey, this odyssey, I originally started it because, you know, I was writing an essay Bloodborne, or was getting the rough draft of it. Now I'm finally on a further draft now that the semester's over and I have free time to make a further draft of that essay. And so, that's going good. Hopefully I'll get that soon, and hopefully I'll make it work. Now I've watched many lore videos for the essay, like a lot of, you know, Bloodborne lore and story videos to help the essay. And while I'm not trying to succeed in the essay to giving a full story of Bloodborne or whatever have you, what I'm trying to do is to compare Bloodborne to, I think, Lovecraft in his sense of horror, which is a good comparison. I'm not going to deny that. It's a great connection. That sort of Lovecraftian horror, I think, is embedded strongly into Bloodborne. However, another good connection or comparison to Bloodborne is Franz Kafka, and, you know, Metamorphosis and other novels and short stories. That absurdity, and I think actually Franz Kafka was before Lovecraftian horror, way before Lovecraft was around. But I'm not quite sure on that. I'll have to research that. I'm pretty sure Franz Kafka was Lovecraft. And that he had really, I think, coined the horror, the scariness of absurdity. If you really want to read some more philosophy of Franz Kafka, you should check out Albert Camus' novel, Myth of Sisyphus. I think in one chapter it's just dedicated to Franz Kafka. But in Albert Camus, his existentialism philosophy really plays on that really life is just absurd and that we should accept it. And to many degrees, I've preferred Albert Camus' existentialism over Jean-Paul Sartre's. Jean-Paul Sartre obviously being a big influence in existentialism for Albert Camus and others. But to some degree, I'm not going to get into details right now, but there's a whole story about how Albert Camus, Simone de Beauvoir, all in a way disagreed and took something from Jean-Paul Sartre. What I'm here to talk about, though, is how, in a way, Aristotle. That's the main focus of the essay right now. Is number one, first part is can video games. Can video games be art? I think so. That's the potentiality of being art. Obviously, not every video games are art. Just like how not every painting is good art, you know. So I think to some degree, video games hold that same standard, and you know, so there's a big portion of this dedicated to the argument can't video games be art. So I do argue that in that sense, that there is this potentiality. The next part is the connection with Aristotle. How does Bloodborne connect to Aristotle? Connect it with Aristotle's if you haven't read Aristotle, I think the Poetics is probably the best book to get started with. I think it was actually the first book I read of his. Either that or the Nicomachean Ethics. But both of those books, the Nicomachean Ethics and the Poetics and Rhetoric by Aristotle, are some of his easier books to get into. His metaphysics and I believe physics is some of the more challenging to get into. His metaphysics in particular, I mean, it's tough. In fact, actually, Aristotle, in a way, is easier to read and Plato in one way, but in another way, it's harder to. Plato hides his philosophy behind a veil of storytelling. There's this combination of myth and logos. You know, that's a common sort of tone, theme in his dialogues. Plato loves this dance between mythos and logos. We got a sad part here. Let's see. I think this is. Unfortunately, this far into the game, her body is, as far as I know, never going to disappear. It is sort of, the older sister is sort of stuck there. It's really sad, really. But as I was saying, Aristotle has this straightforwardness to him, which does make him easier. However, in a way, his philosophy is a little more. And it's probably, Aristotle's philosophy is a little more complex, probably due to the fact that he's a little more straightforward. Who knows? It's interesting because I remember one famous philosopher said, I can't remember who it was, but he had said that both Plato and Aristotle, you're either a Platonist or Aristotelian, you know, one or other. And to some degree, Plato and Aristotle did significantly inspire Western philosophy. You know, Plato obviously inspired continental philosophy, and then Aristotle obviously inspiring the analytical British analytics. And that's one interesting concept, you know, when you really look at Plato and Aristotle, is that's really the defining difference between them. That while there is some student, you know, teacher similarities between them, with still having some sort of concept forms and other, there is this difference in writing style. Like, I mean, obviously, take for example Nietzsche. Nietzsche, I think, made his business off of criticizing Plato. Yet, how in many degrees, Nietzsche was very similar, much more similar to Plato than Aristotle. He had that ballet dance, you know, that sort of tango between this mythos and logos. I mean, take for example the myth of Sisyphus. You know, this is a almost platonic like dialogue, mixing between you know, straightforward philosophical logic and storytelling. You know. And then you get like people like, you know, Susan Stebbing or Bertrand Russell, who are closer to Aristotle yet. Susan Stevens specifically had criticized Aristotle and classical metaphysics. However, you know, she was, when you read Susan Stevens, she was quite like Aristotle. Once she tries to get away from classical metaphysics, the closer she gets. And that's sort of the irony and, to some degree, hypocrisy of Susan Stevens. Really goes to show that sometimes, you know, in history, repeat things quite often. Now, I'm really hoping the sound quality on this as well. I remember the first few videos I made, you know, it's obviously a balancing act to figure out how loud game sound and sound to hear me talking over slashing, gashing, killing, you know, it's hard to figure out. And so I'm hoping what this video achieves, if nothing else, is you know, sound quality. How do I get the sound? Do I need to turn it up a bit, etc. Now, what I'm using as a mic currently is my headset that I use for my computer. If you watch my Fallout 4 videos, burped a bit. If you watch my Fallout 4 videos, my Skyrim videos, my Witcher 3 video that I made, I use the same headset mic that I use for that. It's for, you know, basic gaming mic. That's it. The quality is it's definitely better than earbud mics that I was trying to use originally for this, because those earphone mics will pick up everything in the living room, which is where I'm playing my PS4 currently. And so I'm hoping this mic pick up everything, but I at least want it to pick up my voice as best as possible. But I'm also hoping that it doesn't pick up the TV sound, because you know, I have to hear the game, and I'm hoping, it doesn't have an echo effect of the TV, which in fact I'll actually turn down a bit, because I don't need it that loud. For me, at least. For you guys, on your end, you usually get the sound straightforward in the game. Sometimes with mics, and this is what I have to be careful about, is that it picks up the TV audio as well, and it creates this awful echo effect, because you hear the game, the slashing and so forth, plus my voice. It's just a mess. So I'm hoping to fix that as best as possible. Oh gosh. Now, in the last video, last Bloodborne video I was making without commentary, to sort of give a rundown of that video, I went to Upper Cathedral Ward, I think is what it's called, and sort of grinding a bit away, trying to get further, etc., unlocking doors here and there, but primarily, what I was trying to do is get to that boss area. I did beat one of the bosses in that area. Struggled a bit off the video, but I did do it. Unfortunately, I saved that for the video. But I did sort of defeat that boss. I forget what his name is, but it's in that little flower garden where he makes copies of himself. He's not that great of a boss. In fact, he's actually a super easy boss if you're trying to find easy later game bosses. He's super easy, especially compared to some of the later bosses. And he's not even he's a side boss. You don't have to fight him. But he blocks the way to a harder boss. And that's really what I struggle at. In fact, that's actually what made it impossible for me to get I think the third ending. The final good ending is because I didn't complete all the side bosses, but I'm saying that. Another thing, right? So to get the final ending, you need her to, she allegedly needs to give birth to some sort of creature thing, and you need to see that through. She's still obviously in here, she's sick. But if you continue the story, allegedly she will give you what you need. Now, where am I gonna go next? Now there's a couple areas. There's 2 side quest areas and the main story area that I'm at in this late of game. So you have the one main area, which is Hidden City or whatever. Yeah, Unseen Village. If you go there, that's where you get the main boss. You get a couple, I think, different main bosses. But that's where you go to really finish the story. Side quest, however, you have Canehurst Castle, side boss there. In fact, actually, I still think one of the hardest bosses to beat is the Martyr Ligarius. Still hardest boss. In fact, I think I actually had play online to beat him originally, but I'm trying not to this time around. And then the other side boss is the one underneath the Grand Cathedral Ward. Maybe it's not under Grand Cathedral. It's just under Cathedral Ward, though. That boss is extremely difficult. And in fact, I actually did not beat that boss originally, so I'm trying to grind a bit. Canehurst Castle is great for grinding for Blood Echoes, especially later on in the game. Now, I saw Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, won Game of the Year award. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not, but I saw something about it, which I think's cool. I've only played a little bit. I like the game. I like the concept of the game. I like the whole idea of a samurai, Dark Souls, Bloodborne sort of game. I think that's a cool concept. I like how From Software is sort of expanding their repertoire. But, as a But the only thing I don't like about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the progression system. See, to some degree, there's something in Dark Souls and Bloodborne that's forgiving, and that's the progression system, the leveling up system. Theoretically, you could grind your way to beating this game. There's nothing to some degree, you know, it's part of the game. The areas, the maps, except there is no map, anything. It doesn't tell you where something is. It enforces the idea to play over and over and over again. As I saw when the leveling up system in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, though, you don't really get that. To level up your character's health and etc., especially you have to beat, I think, key bosses within the game to get, like, Buddha beads, I think is what it is. I could be wrong. I didn't play the game. But it didn't have the same concept in Dark Souls, where you could upgrade certain stats depending on what you wanted. No, it was sort of like you could upgrade certain techniques, attack moves, like that, but not stats per se. And it was really interesting how they did that. And it was sort of a turn-off for me, personally, because I'm not that good at Bloodborne. I mean, I love Bloodborne, I love Dark Souls, I love their stories. Bloodborne. As you can tell. But, Sekiro Dies Twice doesn't have that same stat system where you can, like, make your own stats or, I almost and that's what was kind of a turn off for me, at least with the game. Because I like the ability, like, look, you know, certain bosses can be just a challenge for everybody. And the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I think, heavily surrounds itself with being able to block and counter. Way more so than Dark Souls or Bloodborne. Obviously, Dark Souls primarily on the shield, Bloodborne more so dodging, and because I, played a lot of Bloodborne, focused on dodging in Sekiro. But unfortunately, Sekiro is really about it's I'm not good enough. And so, And, you know, I'm just, when you have the ability in this game is to build up some form of currency to level up your character's stats, you can just rinse and repeat. And that's sort of the beauty of, like, Bloodborne and Dark Souls. So even if you're good, you can sort of get good in a weird way. Like a stat way. Like your attacks can do at least more damage. Do yeah, you might take some damage here and there. You can at least deal more damage than you did the last time. And that's what's important, sort of. Because, yeah, you can speed Dark Souls. And yeah, theoretically, you could be so good that you know all the movesets of the boss and sort of trick them, etc. But, I don't know the movesets, and unfortunately, their movesets can be sort of complex, and so in reality, it's just easier to some people just to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice doesn't allow that breathing room, sort of. And so that's sort of, I think, care for it per se as much as Bloodborne. Now, what is interesting about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is that I think the story is a bit more straightforward. Bloodborne is they're all implicit and abstract. Talks, there's really Sekiro Shadows Die Twice far more Dark Souls and Bloodborne. You actually have these flashbacks and so forth. Side quest missions and so on. So there is a sort of explicitity to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. But there is a underlying abstract philosophical story, I think. But that's something else. Drenched in blood. Cool thing about Caners is, you know, it's got this Count Dracula quality about it. On the nose Count Dracula quality. That's the cool thing about Bloodborne, is it sort of got this on the nose Frankenstein, or like werewolf Dracula sort of story-esque quality to it. This Victorian horror quality. But did not mean to do that. I was actually about to. I was in the process of that, but I got grabbed. That sucks. But yeah. other news, if this dialogue can be heard over the gameplay, or maybe it's too loud. Who knows? I got A's on all my classes this semester. Yeah, that was definitely good news. I made National Honor Society, which was nice. That's the second Honor Society out that I've yeah, the other honor society was Math Honor Society, which I was a little more proud of when I made that, because I feel like the Math Honor Society is often, like, if you're majoring in the field that you're genuinely good at, I feel like it's not that hard to make honor. But I don't know. Like, you could be good at it, and math is still hard. You know? It's funny too. I love calculus. I love those concepts. What's funny is I can't. And that's the funny thing. I'll be good at it. Whoa. But the thing is, like, you can be bad at, like, basic math, basic counting, basic arithmetic, but I think it takes a different mindset to be good at abstract math, meaning the algebra, you know, I think geometry is abstract math, trigonometry as well. And calculus. When you get into those fields of study, you realize that you're not really counting numbers. But either way, you know, compared to basic. Like, I remember, what was it? I used to work with somebody who used to be good at, like, you could, like, ask, how many seconds do we have left in the day? Um, and she could tell you instantly. She could do math in her head. But she was terrible at like algebra and calculus and stuff like that. And so it's interesting when you see that. It's like people will be good at like basic arithmetic, which is good. It's a good skill. And then it's the abstract stuff, you know. Why is my cat now standing in front of the TV? Oh, that's not what I want. Oppenheimer, what are you doing in front of the TV? Hey, buddy. Ah, no! Oh, come on. No. Nope, I'm stuck. Yes. Oh my gosh. This part can be Kainer's castle is just stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it's just stressful. That's why it's great for grinding for some blood echoes. It's small. It's a small map, which makes it great for, you know, rinsing and repeating. You know where everything is. But it can also be sort of a challenge, if that makes sense. Because it is one of those higher level areas. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, I guess. Let me get to this lamp real quick so I can go back to stream and level up. And hopefully my mic and the sound quality is not garbage.
Welcome home, good hunter. I must have drifted off. What is it you desire? Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand close. Now shut your eyes. Farewell, good heart. May you...
I really want to unlock the Kanehurst Knight outfit, but you have to defeat Martyr Ligarius, I think, to get it, which sucks, because he's really difficult. What level am I at, actually? I don't think stats. Level 74. Theoretically, any good level 74 player should be able to defeat Martyr Ligarius. However, you are dealing with a person who probably is not that good at defeating Martyr Ligarius. Mostly because I'm not that great at playing. But for the end of this video, I will try my hardest to beat him. And hopefully the sound quality is not terrible on this. And hopefully you can hear my voice over the video game background noise. Fortunately, these guys damage too. I have no idea how not to get damaged by doing that. Okay. Now, I'm probably gonna upload this video, whether sound quality bad or not, because obviously I've uploaded, you know, the first Bloodborne video I uploaded was terrible with sound quality. So, this isn't anything new. If it's really bad, you know, I'll just, you know, next time I'll increase the volume on the mic or whatever needs to be done to fix the sound setup, you know, change the dials, however need be. But let's get to this. Ooh, I better sit up straight. Crack my neck a bit. Okay. How to do. Oh man. Let's see. I don't think I can use that though, because I'm not playing online, as far as I know. Or I would have saw more online messages or something, but I don't know why that popped up. Let's try this. I don't think fire works that great on them, but... I'm already dead. Wow, that was good. First mistake. Everything. Second mistake. Probably everything. I actually know what my mistake was. Number one, just not dodging. Number two, I think I really should be trying to stun him. I have my shotgun out, which I heard is better at stunning. I find the shotgun is better at stunning human-like enemies, more so than beast-like enemies. If you're trying to stun a beast character, the shotgun doesn't work. Or I mean, yeah. For like beast enemies, shotgun doesn't work as much. But give this the good old Boy Scout second try, I guess. Just to, because man, that first go round was horrible. I really did not do well at all. Oh Lord, I almost fell. And I mean, theoretically, I'm high enough level I should be beating him. And I did some damage on him with the sword, I think. However, my issue is that I tried using the Molotov cocktails. They don't do that much damage, which I sort of assumed might have been the case. Because, halfway through, so that was better than last time, I guess. Oh man. Yeah, like I said, I did an online playthrough originally to beat him. I mean, that might be what I'll have to do next time around. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you want to watch more videos. And hopefully everything mic wise, sound quality wise will be good. And I'll see you on the next episode.